What's up, quadcopter fans? IronJoan.com. Today I'm going to be doing a test flight with the V303 Seeker. Currently I have a RunCam hooked up to the bottom. It's not the best setup in the world, but we do have it attached by rubber bands. So we're going to see if we can get some footage with this and the current setup that it's in. It is recording. It should hold somewhat steady. This is a very smooth flyer, so let's see what kind of footage that we can get out of it. With the V303 Seeker, since it is a GPS quadcopter, you can't run the straps up over the top because then it will affect your satellite signal. So we're going to go ahead and take the V303 Seeker up with the RunCam on there. Wind is blowing. Got a headwind today, and which we're flying into currently right now. We'll just cruise it around, see what kind of footage we can get out of this, see how stable it is. The V303 has quite a bit of vibration to it. Any camera that I've just mounted without a gimbal, it does come back with a lot of vibration. So this RunCam is specifically made for RC vehicles, especially airplanes, so the anti-vibration might be a little bit better on this type of quadcopter, or on this type of camera than most. You can hook it up FPV. I don't have a way to transmit that back currently right now with the V303 Seeker, so we'll go ahead and take this up, get an aerial shot using the RunCam. Range appears to be fine. Appears to be holding its position without an issue. Even though we do have a pretty strong wind, there is no real drift. I've only really started noticing drift with the V303 Seeker whenever I'm using a gimbal on there. It seems like for some reason the WLToys G2D gimbal gives it some odd feedback whenever you run the signal wire in there or the power wire in there. So it looks like our camera is on there, the RunCam is on there straight. So bring it in, we'll take a look at it again, get a look underneath it, make sure everything's okay. Hopefully it is recording. You can see the V303 jumping whenever the wind blows. It's just compensating, which is nice with these GPS type quadcopters. So it's kicking the back end up a little bit, which is kind of bizarre. We'll straighten out the antenna a little more, hopefully get better communication with the quadcopter. But overall, flying nice and smooth. I did calibrate the compass prior to taking off, so no worries there. Get a little bit of a tilt to the left side, but very interested to see what this image will look like. If it's decent enough, I might figure out more of a permanent solution for turning this thing on and off, or taking it on and off. I have the WLToys 2G gimbal. It's great, to keep the pans nice and smooth. But with this hovers pretty well. So if you do want to do a panning shot or rotating shot, it works out good. The gimbal, the 2G or G2D gimbal that I have, does have a pitch feature to it, but unfortunately it doesn't work correctly with my quadcopter. There's a little bit of an issue there, so I don't get to use that function. So more so using it just for stability, anti-vibration, anti-jello, and that's been working out pretty good. There's a little bit that goes into it and a lot more setup involved whenever you do use the gimbal, so it's nice just to strap a the camera to the quadcopter and take off flying, as opposed to spending extra time, because there's already quite a bit of setup calibrating the compass with this quadcopter, and any more setup get a little annoying since most of the other quadcopters I own are just ready to fly. Plug them in, turn them on, and go. But that's one of the downsides to the GPS quadcopters, but the upside is that you get a nice stable flyer that will hold its position, and if it works correctly, you can count on it like clockwork. So checking out the camera again, everything looks good. Seems to be centered. I wasn't sure how well it would stay centered on the quadcopter since it was fairly just rigged up on it with rubber bands. I don't want to get too aggressive as far as flying goes, because again, it's not a permanent solution, it's just temporary. Didn't really have a method in which to attach it to. It's not like I was mentioning before, most quadcopters you can just run a strap from the belly to the top. I still do have the Wakira mounting bracket on there, so I can't just put Velcro on the bottom and Velcro on the camera either. And I don't want to hold it just by Velcro, because you know that could drop off. So getting a nice little flight in here. Like I said, handling well. Going to be interested to see what the video will look like. And we'll take it up just a little bit higher, get a better view of our surroundings. The wind's starting to pick up. But it's holding its position fairly well, so even despite this very, very strong headwind. So we'll start bringing it down in stages. You don't want to bring this thing down too fast. I had mine drop out in the previous video, crashing to the ground, but I blame that largely on the props that were on there. Some cheap, flimsy, wannabe DJI props, so I would be very selective in the props that I do pick. And the amount of weight that you're carrying in regards to the gimbal and camera. I think those DJI knockoffs would probably work fairly well if you just had nothing more than possibly a RunCam. The RunCam's very light. It's light as the Mobius, if not lighter. It does appear to be a little bit bigger and boxier, but it's more plastic than the Mobius, where the Mobius has seems to be a harder rubber exterior for protection and shock, whereas the outside of the RunCam is very plastic feeling. So getting quite a bit of flight time out of it, probably going on 5-6 minutes. We'll fly it in around the bases here on the baseball field. We'll bring it in for a landing. So we'll go ahead and bring this in for a landing. We'll find a nice level spot to do so. V303 Seeker, very easy to land. It doesn't have the one switch landing, but you can use the return to home. I would prefer not to do that, just in case there is a flyaway issue, but we'll go ahead and touch down, hold down on the throttle, make sure that the motor's in, or turn off, and disarm, and then we'll go ahead and power off the transmitter, and we'll check out the RunCam below. Well, it looks like we still do have a red blinking light. It's faint to see, but not as bright as the Mobius light, but I can see it. I can tell it's still recording, so we'll go ahead and stop the recording. And the video might not be the best because this is where it was, so you know, any vibration, it was probably hopping around quite a bit. But at least we got it on there. We got some video out of it just to take a look at how this will turn out, and if it will be a good alternative to an SJ4000 or a GoPro. So very pleased with the RunCam so far. The quality of the image is good. External microphone's good. A little bit different coloring than the Mobius as far as the blues in the sky, but it seems like it's a little bit more HD. So I still need some more testing to see which one I like the best, but this is the V303 Seeker with the RunCam FPV camera.